and your hip base.
I thought it was you, but just be careful on the left side as you come out to not tear the microphone up. It's in the bushes.
Yes. What is it?
They don't sell them.
Oh, I just figured
They sell zero.
there's no way that's what
Fish on.
On speed.
Set.
I always wanted to come here. I won this Jeremiah contest. And that.
Set.
Action.
I always wanted to come here. I won this jitterbug contest. That sort of led to acting. You know, wanting to act. When my aunt died, anyway, she left me some money. She worked here.
In the movies?
Yes.
Well, how did you meet Camilla?
On the Sylvia North story.
Yep. Background.
Action.
And I'm walking down the hall, and I see, knowing that behind that door, she's with someone else. And I open the door, and sure enough. Do you want to tell them?
No. You tell.
Okay. You've probably already guessed it.
Pauses between lines. Do extra looks to, Naomi. Give plenty of room when Melissa goes out for her to follow her out and to see the cowboy and to return back. And just take your time in between so that it's, there's you give her, many looks and different things. And that will be better. Okay.
After so many years in Hollywood, I realized that until I worked with David, that I never really had, anybody really directing me before. He's an actor's director and he is a poet. So he directs in metaphors, which is very easy for me because I'm very visual, to get what he means, and very few people direct you in metaphors because he's a poet, and he's an artist, and so it's beautiful. It's just such a wonderful thing for an actor to be directed in that way, and it's very specific and very visual, and he's so passionate, and it's just perfect for all of us to be working together. It's a lot of fun. People are not going to imagine how David was able to transform this into a really great movie, and only a creative genius like David could do it. Make something that was made for television, shot on film and everything, but the story was, into a feature film, and use the material to transform it and make it work, and he did beautifully. 2 characters before, and then now I'm playing kind of like a third one. So it was a completely different state of mind. I mean, as I said, like the full extreme, the epitome of torment and lost and confusion, to secure and sexual and sensual and very in touch and very successful. I've worked with some really, good directors, but never a magnificent, brilliant, and it makes all the difference in the world. As I was saying, it's really a blessing. And as you know, David is one of the very respected directors internationally, around the world, and they teach his movies in universities, and so, he's a legend, and it's working with, the best. It took me a couple days to really turn around and see everybody and say, oh my God, this is surreal. I mean, you turn around, you look at the same crew, the same people, other than a couple, people that are different, but most of the people are exactly the same, and it is a surreal experience, like being in a dream, seeing the same people a year and a half later. It just makes you think that maybe this project was meant to be.
It's just a journey, a really extraordinary journey that my character goes on, which is just so satisfying for an actor to take on, because you have this movement, and she goes places. She's still, like, even though I look a little more glamorous, she's still in a place of confusion, and she's unsteady, and this Laura's character is completely leading the way, and she's sort of predicting all my emotions, all my moods. I'm completely at a point in this part of the story. I'm built upon her reactions and actions, basically, and it's a difficult role to play, because you want to drive scenes as well as be honor the story, which is very complex. He had a quote that I always remember, which is, some guy can write a book, and the book can be talked about, and everybody loves it, and critically acclaimed, but the writer died before the book came out. And so everybody has these questions, but they're never going to get answered. So it's the same thing. It's like, you just got to work it out. And if you can't work it out, come up with something. And, because it's up to the audience. Who wants to go and see movies where everything is spelt out to you and there's no work for you? It's, that you've got to be in the right kind of mood. But for the most part, I think in your adult life, you do want to do some of the work. You want to be thinking. You want to relate it to your own life. You want to, take it home with you. And that's what I think David's movies do. You're there, and even while you're there in the seat, you're also other places. And then when you leave, you take the movie with you. And I think that's important. He's very specific with an expression or a mannerism, and you get it. You get what he's going for because he's so, he'll go and she's strung out and she's going crazy, and and it's like that. It's like and you just go, okay, I got it, and he's not giving you a line reading, and he's not giving you some incredible. You just get the whole picture. He gives it to you, and he's incredibly expressive, and to me that's communication. Let me just say that it's an incredible acting experience, because it's not that our roles have switched, but what our characters are going through in the beginning and what they're going through at the end are very diverse, and her character's very distressed in the beginning, and I'm this one that's keeping it together, and I'm the happy-go-lucky, magical, energetic one, and my character takes care of hers, and there's a friendship that's formed, and then there's a twist, and I end up being the distressed one, and she is, the light, basically, and I'm the darkness. He's got a great sense of humor, and I mean, if you look around, and I'm sure you've noticed it, this is the calmest set you'll ever be on. Is one of David Lynch's, because nobody's going to feel the tension, because it all comes down from the director. The director sets the precedence, and he is a gentle, kind, spirited, and humble person, and he's got time for everyone, and that trickles down, and it just dissipates any tension. And, you know, and like sometimes you're not, like when you're on big movie sets, you can't even have contact with a director. Not as an actor, obviously, but other areas across the line of the crew. But he gives a little bit of his time to every single person.
Takes you by the hand and just leads you right through the character and right through every moment. He works in so many different styles, you can't really isolate it. He's, you know, Brechtian, he's, you know, what he does is he's so very specific, you know. He's very specific about what he wants. He orchestrates it perfectly, beautifully, and in a way in which you can completely trust him. He's just a gentle, wonderful man to work with, and you can feel it on any set. I'm sorry, anyone can tell you. It just trickles down from the top, and he's an exceptional human being to work for. He's not really he is a director, but he's a choreographer. He's so much, you know. It's hugely sad, especially today, last day of shooting. It's hugely sad to say goodbye to this project. Not because, you know, but we just all want to be working with someone like David all the time. He really wrecks it for a lot of other directors, you know, or spoils it, you know, spoils any other project for a long time to come. It's crushing to have to go back to another director because David is so exceptional. You know, you have to. Again, you know, David moves at his own pace. David wants to draw you through the scene. He always has enough time to rehearse. He always has enough time to talk about the character. He always has enough time to talk about the scene. You never feel rushed. When you're with another director, a lot of times you feel like they just want to move the camera to the next angle. They want to turn it around. They want to get the, you know, reverse shot, and they want to get out of it. A lot of actors in Hollywood are paid for their ability to move a camera around a room quickly. David obviously isn't paid for that. He's paid for something entirely else, which is exceptional filmmaking.
Well, it's a road that is locked sort of back in time, and a lot of it is anyway. It's kind of all by itself on the crest of the mountains, and there's many places where you can overlook, you know, either the valley or Los Angeles, you know, Hollywood down below, and it's very dark there at night, and so the road, and it's curving, and it just gives you a feeling. It's a kind of a dream road. Well, there's many characters. All are dealing with somewhat of a question of identity, like everybody, you know. Well, always I think you talk to people, you know, actors one-on-one, and if you can look in their eyes, and you can, it's communication. It's not always words. It's a look. It's like a joining, and then you go like that. No, nothing's ever the same. Story dictates how it should be told. Each story is different, so each story talks to you in different ways. Every story has its way. So there's no thinking, I'm going to go a narrative way, or I'm going to go this way. You just happen to fall in love with the story, and it tells you, in a way, everything, you know, how to be. And you follow that. So it depends on the stories that you fall in love with. When you make something and it's not completed, and it's lays in a half-completed form, it always would be a trauma, you know, that you want to make it complete. And so it's like a loose end, and that this chance to, you know, finish this in this way is a beautiful thing. Generally speaking, I think there's jokes about everybody in LA writing scripts, and everybody's got a resume and a photo. So there's a yearning, you know, there's a yearning to get the chance, not necessarily for fame, but to express yourself. And that's another thing I love about LA, besides the light, this business of a sort of a creativity in the air, you know, and where everybody's willing to go for broke and take a chance, and it's a modern town in that way.